So you go diving and your mask is always fogging up on you. Doesn't matter how much defog you put in it or how much spit you use, it still fogs. Well, there could be a reason for that. Perhaps your mask wasn't properly pre-treated before its use. I'm Tech Clark with ScubaGuru.com. We're going to look today at how to pre-treat a mask. This is a really important and overlooked thing that takes place, and there's a lot of misinformation out there about it. So let's look at it today in depth, understanding the mask, understanding what's on the lens to begin with, and the safest and best ways to get that coating that's on the lens off so that your mask will not fog. Let's take a look. So what's going on here in the first place? Well, when you purchase a brand new mask, from the factory there's going to be a residue that's on the lens, both the inside and the outside of the mask. This residue from the factory is often a silicone type residue, and that what was going to take place is that when you wear the mask, the humidity builds up inside the mask, the water vapors collect and accumulate on the lens. With the surface tension that exists with a silicone layer already in place, those droplets, the moisture droplets, are just going to beat up like crazy. And you're going to get all of these water droplets all across the mask lens on the inside, and that's going to create a fog. For more on that, see the article on how to defog a mask. Now, what takes place is that we need to get rid of the silicone layer that's inside the lens, and outside of the lens for that matter. But there's many ways to do that. I'm going to show you a technique that's really going to help in this to make it one of the most efficient ways, one of the safest ways, and hopefully you won't have any problems, especially after you pre-treat the mask and then use proper defogging procedures after that. So let's take a look at some of the features of a mask. First of all is the lens that we're talking about. This lens could be either one plate, one solid lens, or it could be two pieces. It can be made of glass, a tempered glass that is, or polycarbonate plastic. We've also got a skirt. That's the outer seal here. The skirt is usually made of silicone. We've got a frame that holds the skirt and the lens together, and that's usually made of plastic. And then, of course, you've got your mask strap and buckles. Also buckles, plastic, mask strap could be silicone as well, sometimes rubber. So there's the pieces of the mask. When we take a look at two different types that I've got here, we're going to be talking about pre-treating. And pre-treating and defog procedures are a little bit different for a glass or tempered lens than a plastic lens or polycarbonate. So this is the popular Aquasphere mask, and used by free divers, and a real great mask for free diving and breath hold diving. But it's a polycarbonate mask. And so what you get with a polycarbonate mask with the lens being plastic is that it scratches easily. So we have to be really careful of how we handle plastic lenses. The Aquasphere mask doesn't say that there is a plastic or polycarbonate, doesn't say it on the lens itself. So you have to know that and see it in the instructions. Also remember that some masks come pre-treated or pre-coated on the inside with an anti-fog. So if you come in and start doing pre-treating yourself and all kinds of cleansing on the inside, you might knock out that anti-fog that's already been put on the mask. So be aware of that. All right, so the cleaning agent that's used in a mask, that's the object of great debate. Well, in my opinion, the best one to use is plain, simple toothpaste. Now, what I'm talking about here is just white, regular toothpaste. It doesn't have to be anything fancy, and definitely not a gel. What you're looking for is a good toothpaste that's going to contain the active ingredient that we're looking for here of silica. Silica is going to be that little grittiness that you feel when you're rubbing it around inside the lens of the mask. That grittiness is going to help get off the silicone from the factory that's on the lens. So just a simple toothpaste is the way to go. And now, people are talking about the different types of toothpaste and the flavorings that mint could sting the eyes or something like that, well, that might be true, but consider the method that I'm about to show you is going to be one that is going to get out this agent that's in there. You're going to rinse it well and you're going to dry it, and then we're going to rinse and dry and rinse and dry. We're going to keep doing this over and over again. So you should not have any residue, any toothpaste left over in your mask anywhere when we're done with the proper procedure. So again, my number one recommendation that is the absolute safest way to go on glass, it's the safest way to go chemically as well, is toothpaste. Now, another cleaning agent that's talked about quite a bit for masks is soft scrub. This cleanser is okay to use on glass. It does say that. And what is the ingredient in here that cleanses and gets that grittiness is actually calcium carbonate that's in here. Gives it that chalkiness. So when you rub it on the lens, you're going to feel that grittiness. Again, it's designed to be safe on glass. But you've got to remember that there's some harsh chemicals in here that are designed to clean. So we have to be careful about this. Use it very sparingly and also rinse thoroughly. Now, if you've heard the adage that a mint-flavored toothpaste could sting the eyes, imagine what a cleanser could do to the eyes if a little bit is left in there, some water gets in there, you do a mask clear. Now what we're talking is not just kind of a mild irritant. Now we're talking a cleanser that actually has directions on it that if you get it in your eyes, you need to flush your eyes with water for 15 minutes. That's some pretty harsh cleanser. And also remember that there's many of these models that come with bleach, and it says with bleach. Avoid those. You don't want to damage your skirt, your eyes, your hands doing all this, etc. So you can use this, but do it in moderation, do it very conservatively. Now, let me caution you on something. Out there in the cyber expert world, there's a technique floating around of using a flame to get off the residue on the inside of the mask. Burn it off. Don't do this. Please don't do this. Fire and dive equipment don't mix. So many things can go wrong. You can overheat the lens, which is in turn going to hurt the silicone skirt. It's going to hurt the frame. It could warp it. It could damage it. It could burn a hole through it. Don't do this. The residue that's left over, the carbon that would be there, the blackening of the lens, that's got to get washed off anyhow. So we've already done that. There's just too much to go wrong when using a flame to try to do this, so please do not use a flame to get off that inner residue on the mask. It's just not a good technique at all. Okay, so how do we do this technique? Well, let's take a look.